Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to writing composition class. Now, before we begin, make sure you have your writing packet with you and something to write with. Today we will talk about introductions, narrow down ideas, and develop a central idea statement. So let's go ahead and start things off by reading our objective. Get ready. Students will be able to develop an expository introduction. Great. So let's begin with a discussion question. Why is an introduction important? Why is the beginning of your essay important? All parts of your essay are very important, but why is your introduction especially important? The introduction is the first thing that readers read. It's the part that needs to capture their attention, and you can achieve this by using a really great hook and make them want to keep reading. It is also the place where you make your point, your central idea statement, and it's also the place where you give your reasons briefly. So you don't just kind of mention the exact wording of your reasons in the introduction. You kind of just mention them briefly in a specific, unique way that doesn't make you repeat yourself when you're writing your body paragraphs. So before we start getting into our brainstorming packet, because remember your homework was to fill out your brainstorming box and to narrow it down to 2 or 3 answers or 2 or 3 topics. So let's talk about testing your topic. So I did notice last week a lot of students were contacting me because they weren't sure how to narrow down their topics, or they had 2 topics that they were very interested in. So make sure that you test your topic. This file is in our class team, and it's on the general section in the file folder, so you can find it there. So let's go through these questions. You have to ask yourself, number 1, is the topic something I have strong feelings about? If you can say yes, then you know you're on the right track. Number 2, is the topic something I know a lot about? So if you remember in my video yesterday, I talked about the Japanese tea gardens. However, I've never actually visited that place. So is the topic something I know a lot about? Well, not really. So if I said no to number 2, then I know I need to change my topic. That could not be my topic. Moving on to number 3. Can I describe this topic in great detail? Now, if I'm talking about San Antonio, yeah, I can describe it in great detail. But if I go back to the Japanese tea gardens, no, I can't. So because I said no to number 3, again, I would have to reconsider my topic. But if I said yes to number 3, I can move on to number 4, which says, would my audience be interested in this topic? So you don't want your audience to be reading something that's not that interesting. So remember when I made that example last week where, you know, if you've ever picked up a book and you read the first page and it wasn't really that exciting or it didn't grab your attention and you were like, you know what, I don't think I want to read this book, and you decided to check out another book. So you have to consider that when someone's reading your writing, they want to be interested in the topic too. They want to be excited when they read your paper. They want to have a good feeling when they read your paper. And if you can say yes to number 4, honestly, then you're ready to move on to number 5. And number 5 says, would my audience feel that reading about this topic was worthwhile? So this means that if somebody read your essay, would they feel like they spent their time doing something that allows them to learn something? Did they spend their time wisely, or did they waste their time reading it? So you want the person who's reading your essay to feel like you want them to like the topic first, and then you want them to feel like they spent their time wisely by reading your paper. They learned something. They really felt a connection to what you were saying. And the only way you can do that successfully is if you really add in how you feel about a topic. You add in your connection to the topic. You can't just say telling the truth is important because if you don't, there's lots of consequences. And then you move on. Well, you can't. How is the person who's reading your essay supposed to believe you if you're not giving them examples? If you're not showing them what those consequences can be? If you're not explaining about a time where you didn't tell the truth and you received a consequence? You have to create that connection to the topic. That way your audience feels like it was worthwhile for them to read your paper. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our introduction. In every introduction, we have a checklist. And in that checklist, we have our hook, details and information, a central idea statement or restating the prompt, and stating the reasons briefly. So once you've narrowed down your topic, you're ready to start on your introduction. So one of these elements that we will be working on during class today is the central idea statement or restating the prompt. The rest of these three, hook and details information and stating your reasons briefly, that'll be for homework for you. Today we're going to focus on what I believe to be the most important part of your essay. This is where you make your point. This is where you state your opinion. This is where you tell what the writing is about. That one statement in the introduction needs to set the tone for the rest of your essay. And if you don't have a strong central idea statement, or you don't even include it in your introduction, the reader's going to be lost. They're not going to know what direction you're taking. They're not going to know what it is you're trying to say. So you want to make sure that you have a very strong central idea statement. And this is the part where you say something that you really believe. This is where you mention the topic. And for us, in this week, we're talking about our favorite place in Texas. So this is the part where you answer that prompt right there in the central idea. So now let's go ahead and move on to this shape right here. Remember, thesis is another word for central idea statement. Okay, so now I'm going to write mine out. Okay, so let me go ahead and read what I wrote. I said, even though there are so many places to visit, my favorite place in Texas, hands down, is my hometown, McAllen, because of the outdoor places you can visit. So just by looking at this statement, can you tell what the writing is going to be about? If we're talking about our favorite place in Texas, what was my favorite place in Texas? And did I say why? What were my reasons? My favorite place is, and I'm going to highlight it, my hometown, McAllen, because of the outdoor places you can visit. So, if you notice, I narrowed it down to 3 on this side, but I decided to go with my hometown. And if you remember from yesterday, I talked about the Santa Ana Wildlife Refuge and the beach. Those are 2 supporting details that I can talk about because I mentioned the outdoor places you can visit. Is the beach an outdoor place you can visit? Yeah. Is the Santa Ana Wildlife Refuge a place you can visit that's outdoors? Yes. So these 2 things, if I decided to put them in my essay, they support this, what I just mentioned, the outdoor places you can visit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out my introduction on the lined paper for you guys, because you guys will write it here on the drafting page. But I like to write it here so that you can use it while you're writing. So let me go ahead and get that done. Okay, so now let's read what I wrote. Now, if you remember what I just put down in my brainstorming packet, I did make a few corrections. Now let's read what I wrote. So looking at what I wrote down in my brainstorming packet just a moment ago, I read it a few times to myself, and I thought, there's got to be something else that I can make it a little more detailed. So I changed it very slightly just to make it a little more interesting. So this is what I wrote. Texas is the second largest state in the entire United States. Because of its size, Texas has quite a few exciting places to visit. Even though there are many places I enjoy in Texas, my favorite place is my hometown, McAllen, because of the outdoor places I can visit. All right, so let's get into the introduction checklist. All right, so we're looking for hook, details and information, central idea or restate the prompt, and stating the reasons briefly. Now let's see if I had those things. Let me get my highlighters out. Okay, let's look for the hook. Where does the hook usually take place? Where can we find it? Yeah, it's going to be the first sentence. So I wrote, Texas is the second largest state in the entire United States. That is my hook. I wanted to use a fun fact hook. That way I could grab the reader's attention. Oh, she's going to talk about Texas, and she's talking about how big it is at first. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to state a fun fact, because that's true. Texas is the second largest state in the entire United States. Bonus, does anybody know the first? Who knows the first? It's Alaska. Alaska's the first. Okay, going on. Because of its size, Texas has quite a few exciting places to visit. Oh, almost forgot to label hook. Because of its size, Texas has quite a few exciting places to visit. That is some extra information, so I'm going to put info next to it, so that way we know that this is some extra information, but it still has a lot to do with what I'm about to talk about. Even though there are many places I enjoy in Texas, my favorite place is my hometown, McAllen, because of the outdoor places I can visit. So here, did I give my central idea? Well, what is my favorite place in Texas? It's McAllen. And then I stated my reasons. Why do I like McAllen? Because of the outdoor places I can visit. Now, what was the topic? What is the topic that we're writing about? We are writing about our favorite place in Texas. So by me saying my favorite place, I'm already restating the prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this whole part right here because it's all one sentence. And this is my central idea statement. It's also where I restate the prompt, and it's also where I mention my reasons. So you don't have to have 1, 2, 3 sentences for each. You can put it all together. You have to do it in a way where you answer the prompt, you say what you're going to talk about. I said McAllen, and then I say why. And that's because of the outdoor places I can visit. So for me, my next step would be my body paragraph, because I've already got all the things on the checklist, right? My hook is there, I gave some information, I restated the prompt, I gave my central idea, and I mentioned my reasons. So now because of this sentence, the reader knows what direction I'm going in. The reader knows that I'm about to talk about McAllen, and I'm about to talk about outdoor places that I can visit. If I decided to talk about Austin, would that be on topic? No, it wouldn't. I need to stay within the topic of McAllen and the outdoor places. And so if I'm talking about outdoor places, should I be talking about, going to the mall? Now, unless I was going to talk about, an outdoor area by the mall, no, I wouldn't necessarily talk about something that was indoors. I want to keep it on topic on the outdoor places. For homework, you will develop your central idea statement and draft out your introduction. So after today's lesson, you should be able to develop your introduction from beginning to end. Just the introduction for homework. So what I really want you guys to do is to use that checklist. Let me go back to it. I want you guys to use this checklist while you're writing out your introduction. So guys, make sure that you're using these videos, because sometimes you guys will ask me questions that the answers are here in the video. So what you should do, maybe you want to practice doing this, is pause the video and start working on something, and then play the rest, and then you can go back to different parts of the presentation where I show you documents. Like for example, this one, use this checklist while you're writing. Or if you're still on the narrowing down your topic, go back to the narrowing down your topic page. You can always come back here before you start everything. That's why we did this first. That's why we tested our topic first, before we got into the other parts of the introduction, okay? So I really want you guys to utilize the tools that I'm giving you in these videos. So remember, your homework is get your central idea statement done and draft out your introduction. If you guys have any questions, or you want me to look over your introduction, or you want to talk about central idea statement, please send me a message. We can video chat. I've already video chatted with some of you guys, so don't hesitate to reach out to me, all right? I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye for now.